Music Mania Podcast. That's the greatest intro we've ever had. That's the greatest intro we've ever had here on the Music Mania Podcast. Johnny Rod.
The radio, man. Wish You Were Here album, 1975. I bought that album when it was brand new.
Johnny Rod, welcome.
He goes, I've always had a deep respect and I mean that most sincerely. He goes, and then he says, the band is fantastic. That is really what I think. And oh, by the way, which one's pink?
Johnny, you're a fellow Midwesterner, man. You're a fellow Midwesterner. You're from.
Nice, man.
You're from.
Nice. 5.5 alcohol.
St. Louis. But
I'm driving down. I'm driving down the road drinking while I'm driving.
that's not. We will not be alerting any law enforcement.
People that shit. They go, man, you shouldn't drink when you drive. I go, I drink while I'm driving. What the fuck are you talking about? I drink while I'm driving.
Most people just don't learn how to drive drunk. That's the problem.
What?
Most people just don't learn how to drive drunk, and that's the problem, man. So hey.
Oh, fuck that shit. I drink while I'm driving. While I'm driving down the road.
Well, hey, we gotta figure out what's been up with you, man, because you used to be all over social media. You
shouldn't drink then drive. I go, I don't drink then drive. I drink while I'm driving.
What? Okay, Johnny, tell us.
I'm driving down the fucking road right now, man.
Well, tell us what's been up, man. You've been off the grid for a little while again. What's been up?
Hold on a second, man. Hold on. All right. Let's turn the volume up a little. I was listening to the Pink Floyd band album, Wish You Were Here album. I bought that album when it was brand new. I was a kid.
That's great stuff. Great stuff, man. You didn't even need any weed to really enjoy that one.
I don't need no weed, man. Fuck that. They let shit back in the early 70s.
Well, what did you?
Mescaline, peyote, weed when the shit was around. Now, you can't get that shit no more like that. That's 40 years ago, man.
Well, what the hell have you been up to, man? You've been off the grid for a little while. What have you been up to?
Off the grid? Shit, I'm ready, man. King Kobra's gonna go play next year. We're doing the Swedish Rock Festival and some dates in Germany. But next year they're booking us now.
I was gonna ask you about King Kobra, man. The two albums you guys have done since in 2010 and 2013. Those are great.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Carmine called me last week. He said they're gonna book us for a Swedish Rock Festival and some dates in Germany and some other shit. I told Carmine, I said I don't play with drummers that suck.
You are.
I go, I don't care.
You're in luck there.
He's just another guy. You know, he's just another guy to me.
Well, you got Paul Shortino's doing the Raid in the Rock Vault thing right now.
Oh, that's don't even ask me questions about that because you won't like what I say.
Well, what do you think about it? It's not.
Don't even go there, man, because you know what? It's called I'm a cover band, okay? Playing on a nice stage with nice lights and PA, so I don't hear it.
Hey, I'm with you. So, King Kobra, you got some dates.
Now, what do you want to do? What are you gonna do? You gonna record the interview, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. No, we're gonna record. Yeah, we were recording it right now, my man. Absolutely, we're on.
Shit. Wait a minute. So we're not live. So
No. Yeah, you can cut. Hey, we're uncensored here at the Music Mania Podcast. Johnny Rod, don't worry about a thing. We're rolling. You don't have to worry about it. We got you going here, and we're just glad to have some King Kobra back. Because I'll tell you what, those two albums you guys did were very well received, very good albums. It's good to see you guys capitalizing on that. We're going to get you guys going. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Carmine called, texted me last week, and I didn't text him back. And then he said, they want to book us Swedish Rock Festival, Germany, and so I didn't text him, and he calls me. He goes, "Hey," and I said, "Scumbag," because I call him Scumbag. That's our nickname. And he goes, "Fuck you." And I said, I don't play with drummers that suck. Man, what's wrong with you?
Wow.
Hey, man, I've known the guy for years. I can joke with him like that. I know.
I feel like just the name Apathy, I think, gives you those drummers don't suck. If your name's Apathy, you probably don't suck at drumming.
Let me tell you something about Carmine. I thought about that, but you know what? Let me tell you something. That guy is the original power rock drummer. He taught Bonham. Bonham learned from him. He was Led Zeppelin was opening for Vanilla Fudge. Hey, man.
Well,
anyway, you know what I'm saying? So Carmine is the original power rock drummer. Regardless, I don't give a damn what anybody says. He's this, he's that. But you know what? The guy is the original power rock, fucking beating the shit out of the drums and Cactus and Vanilla Fudge, man, and them bands back then. Come on, man. That was a monster.
Absolutely. And it's good. You can talk good about him. That's hey, and if you can say something good about him, then that means he's good. That means he's good. Paul Shortino, yourself, Carmen Appice, you put together this version of.
Well, you know what? You got the original guys, all the original people from King Kobra, except for Mark Free, who's Marcy now.
Well, I was gonna say.
It's fine. That's cool. Whatever you want to do, man. But you know what? You can cut anything off your body you want, but you're still a man.
Well, I was gonna say, there's no fear of anyone.
Hey, if I cut my hand off, I'm still John. I'm still a man. I just ain't got no hand.
There's no fear of anybody else falling by the wayside, is there? I mean, you guys. I don't think Jonna Rod would have the same ring to it.
It doesn't. No, John Rod doesn't. It's just, man. I've had that name since 1978. Some girl gave me that name.
Dude. It worked well for you, man. You had the look back in the 80s. You had the name. You had the hair.
Say something, man. In 1978 in St. Louis, some girl gave me that name 6 years before I ever even went to California. You understand? So I was using that name 6 years before I ever joined King Kobra in 1984. I mean, it was had to do with something, and and I started it. And then when I went to LA, I just continued using it, and that's what it was, and that's what that's that persona, man. That's the guy, that's that guy up on the stage.
How did you get hooked up with King Kobra to begin with out there?
How did I get hooked up? Well, man, friends of mine were roadies for Steppenwolf back in the 83 and 84, and they happened to be out there in the summer in 84, and they were tweaked one night. They couldn't sleep. They were at a 7-Eleven, 2 in the morning, and they picked up a musician magazine. This is how it happened. This is really how it happened. And they literally saw this ad that said, Carmine Appice wants young, aggressive bass player for a metal band. Must sing great, must look great, must play great, blondes only. And they said, shit, John's the perfect guy. So they called me on the phone, and I got the number, and I called it the next day. And I went out and got an audition. I talked them, and literally talked them into getting me because they had already made up their mind after the 32 guys they auditioned. But I literally talked and screaming on the phone and acting like a maniac on the phone to Carmine. I literally talked them into to let me come out and audition, and I flew out there and auditioned right there in Carmine's house. I got the gig, got it, and they got it, and I came back and I joined the band. That's how it happened. That's true. That's exactly how it really happened. It was that simple.
I mean, you guys had some success. You did a song for the Iron Eagle soundtrack, a movie I still watch, at least once a month. Great film. You guys did a sound for that, and you guys had some momentum there.
Well, man, Capitol Records dropped King Kobra 2 albums, and W.A.S.P happened to see me. We were touring with W.A.S.P in Ted Nugent in Texas. King Kobra was opening, and they happened to see me, and at the time I didn't know it, but Blackie was planning on switching from bass, going back to guitar, because he was not really a bass player. And they watched me on the tour, and then at the end of that tour, they called me. Chris Holmes called me, actually, when he was drunk.
I will not accept that.
I thought I was some maniac on the phone. They called me when he was sober, and he said he'd talk, and then I called him back. This was in 86. Yeah, I think it was June of 86. I can't remember. Yeah, they put a gun to my head. Hey, are you going to join the band? No. Like that one thing on Facebook or that one video on YouTube where I put the gun to my head.
You joined W.A.S.P for the Electric Circus era album and tour. And what was the experience like? I mean, W.A.S.P had already gained some notoriety, had released their first album, and then Last Command, and then here comes Electric Circus.
But what happened was Blackie called me and said, "You want to come up and talk to me? I'm talking about." I said, "Sure, I'll check it out, man." So I went to the recording studio where they had already done some tracks on that inside the Electric Circus album. And there was a song on it called I Don't Need No Doctor. And I've been playing that song since 1972. The Humble Pies version is my favorite version, the Rock Out of Fillmore album. Steve Barry. But anyway, Blackie was saying, "Hey, we got this song on it called I Don't Need No Doctor. Do you know it?" I said, "Shit." I said, "Shit, put that shit on." He said, "Put it on the guitar." I said, "Turn it on." He said, "Key, what key? E, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Okay." So he said, "Try playing this." So I played to the track, and they used that what I did all for the album. One take.
Wow. And you guys had a pretty big tour with Electric Circus. Went out, and what was some of your experiences on that tour? I know you guys headlined some shows, but you opened for some. Would you guys open for Maiden on that tour?
Yeah, we did a Somewhere in Time tour for Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
I can't tell you about so much shit we did because I go to jail.
Hey.
Me and Chris in Europe. Chris Holmes crawling on the ground in Lisbon, Portugal. I couldn't remember. I just remember grass. Trying to get back to the hotel. We were so drunk.
So we were talking about W.A.S.P, and we're talking about your time with the band, which was a huge era. You're talking about Electric Circus. You're talking about
Electric Circus, man. Yeah, that was cool. Like I was telling you about with that when I did the song. I said, "Put it on, man. I don't need no doctor." And I played along to the track, and they recorded it, and he used it on the album because it was one take. I got it. I knocked it off one take, and I was just messing around. That was kind of like, I guess it was kind of like an audition. I don't know, but I got the gig, and so Capital was dropping King Kobra right at that time, which it worked out well because I just stepped from King Kobra right into W.A.S.P.
Well, it was a great transition. You were a perfect fit for the band. What was it like, though? I mean, you hear the stories about Blackie Lawless, so just get him out of the way now. What was it like working with Blackie?
Well, working with Blackie, I'm gonna tell you something. The guy's an adamant professional, man. He knows what he wants to do. He knows exactly how he wants it to be, and he goes for it. But see, one of the reasons why they hired me wasn't just because I play well, because I've been playing bass for 48 years now, but I could sing. See, I did a lot of singing. A lot of people don't realize this, but live. When we played live, I sang half of the songs. I mean, he would sing a line or two, and I'd sing a line or two because, if you got to sing like that for 6 to 8 months straight, every 4 or 5 times a week, and you're going, it's tough on your voice, man. So he knew I could sing. So you see, I shouldered half of the burden, man, live. I used to sing a lot of stuff live and all the harmonies. And but it's great working with Blackie because he just the guy knew what he wanted to do, man.
Well,
very professional.
Well, you guys did Crimson Idol as well, and as well as Headless Children. I mean, great albums with the band, great time. What was the Idol's a whole different ball game? That was a concept album, a lot of different melodies, a lot of different tones. What was working on that like?
Well, man, that was Blackie. He was he had the idea. He was like Pete Townsend, when he did those concept albums. Remember back in the early '70s, the Who people, they had those rock opera albums, you could call them, whatever. That's what they called them back then, But it was just an idea about the life of a rock star. What sort of some of the reality that goes along with it. People they really don't know. They know what they see in the magazines and on the videos and on but they never really know people. They really know the actual reality of living. Because we're just normal people, man. We just, it's like I tell people, the difference between me and somebody else, I get paid for what I love to do. They pay me for this, But and the rest of the time, man, we're real. We're just people, But you see, I never forgot where I came from. That's me. I never forgot where I came from. So I never got the attitude of some so-called rock stars. They act like all of a sudden hey, man. I'm now that I'm recording put some music on a piece of vinyl or on a CD, that I'm different than you. I'm different today than I was yesterday. No, you're not. No, you're not. Somebody contracted you, a record company contracted you to put some music down on a piece of vinyl or a piece of plastic, and they paid you for it. Now, and songs and feelings that you feel might touch other people, of course, because that's the nature of it. But and I never can get with any of those people who got attitudes, like, well, I'm cool now. You can't touch me. Get the hell out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. No, I don't act that way to people. I'm still John. I'm still John, a crazy fucking asshole from South St. Louis. I just got to live my dream, and I dreamed it from the time I was 6, 7 years old when I heard the Beatles, and it made it happen,
Now you're on the phone with me, so obviously you're not big time in anybody these days. But you're kind of an enigmatic figure, Johnny Rod, because you kind of disappeared. After leaving W.A.S.P, you kind of went away and just kind of set the scene for us. What your mindset was, what you were up to. And, I mean, you're like a
man, in '92 after that Crimson Idol tour, I needed it. It was time. I was getting pretty wild on drugs. I was a maniac. I was going crazy. I'm a wild man. I really still am. I believe our basic personality doesn't really change. We just run out of wind. But besides that, man, I just needed to step back for a while because I had a daughter, and things like that, and I needed to step back for a while. And so, after that, I just decided to knock it off for a while because I needed to, man, for several reasons. And so I did that for a while, and it just ended up being that long, and I didn't realize it was going to take that long, and I got out there for a while. I was out of my mind for a while. Likes to happen to some people. Like on Forrest Gump, he said, I ran for 3 years, 2 months, I was running. And I did a lot of running for a lot of years. When I finally came back down, man, and then when, actually in the year 2000, Carmine, we were going to do a King Kobra reunion then, but it didn't happen. It fell through, man. And so nothing happened for another 10 years, and then 10 years, and, I was just living life, man. I did several things, but, hey, hey, you know what, man? Like I said way back in them years, I always said people keep on rocking. Well, I still rock today just like I did 25, 30 years ago. I don't, man. I still got the same amount of energy. I don't stop.
What's it like? What was it like coming back and playing? I know you guys did a lot of live shows with King Kobra when you released the albums. What was it like getting back on stage playing? I know you'd done a lot.
But that was cool, man, because I love Dave and Carmine. Talk about. It's an honor to play with a guy like that. That guy's he's a legend, man. Like I told you earlier, he's the original power rock drummer. That guy. I was listening to albums in 1970, in 71, 72, 73. I was listening to Carmine playing on albums like Back Over to Peace and Cactus and all that stuff. I was listening to that shit. I was in high school, man. And then 1984 comes on, and I'm in a band with him. I mean, I can imagine what that felt like. I was like, holy shit, But when '84 came around, I was ready. I'd been playing for. I started playing when I was 8 years old. But it felt just like it was great to see Dave and Mick. And Paul Sortino is such a great singer. The guy's voice, he sings like a man. He's got power, and the guy's got balls, and he sings his ass off. And it was great. I know Mark Free was great. He really was, But somewhere along the line, sometimes people they lose whatever that drive is or whatever it is that they had then, and they lose it, And but Paul Sortino was a good guy to come in and step. But I love the fact that in King Kobra, it's still the same four musicians. You know what I mean? The same four guys making the music: me, Dave, Mick, and Carmine. So the only difference is the guys singing, but the same musicians. See, so it's going to have that same feel and that same drive, man, that we had back then. Like,
I want to ask you though. I bet you toured with Iron Maiden. Was this the first time?
Yeah, we toured with Maiden, man. I could tell you some funny ass stories about Maiden when I was with W.A.S.P. Man, that first tour was '86. Yeah, somewhere in time tour. That's when I had just joined the band in June of '86, and we went on tour with Maiden in October of that year. Somewhere in time tour, and Inside the Electric Circus album. That was great, man. It was cool because we headlined in England, Ireland, and Scotland, and then we met up with Maiden over in Europe. We did Europe with them for 2 months, and. It was great, man, watching them guys there. Nice.
Were they pretty professional? You met Bruce Dickinson for the first time. Was a pretty professional gig for the Maiden guys. They weren't probably as partiers as maybe like you and Chris Holmes.
Well, I don't know, man, because a couple of them were. I'm not going to say which one because it ain't for me to say, but a couple of them were pretty much on our level.
Nico.
But that was 1986, 87, man. Come on, In those years, it was we went wild, you know what I mean? But it was still cool. It was cool. I used to watch them every night, because I used to watch Eddie run out on the stage, man, and the big Number of the Beast thing, the big thing go up over the cabin. It was cool.
One memory that stands out, just a show, a tour, anything with W.A.S.P. playing in front of a huge crowd.
Hey, one memory of W.A.S.P. that stands out the most, man, let me think. Man, that's a tough one because there was so many, There were so many, depends on what kind of memory. I remember, let's see. Oh, yeah, I remember one time at this one show, I was somewhere in Europe, and during Maiden's show, sometimes me and Chris would climb up in the scaffolding like a 80, 100 feet above the stage, And Chris was eating an apple. One time we were walking up there, he had an apple, he was eating it. We had already done, we were finished, and we were watching Maiden. And we were standing up above Nico, on the drums, and it was between songs, and Bruce was out there talking to people, right? He was talking to the audience, and we were going, fuck you, Nico, fuck you, over down at him and shit. He's going, fuck you. And Chris took his apple, and Nico's snare drum was kind of tilted. So Chris took his apple, he dropped it, and it went, boom, hit the snare, bang, right in Nico's face. Hit him right in the face. He goes, I'll kill you, motherfucker. I went, fuck you. Yelling at her. See, that's the kind of shit that goes on backstage and on the stage that people that the audience don't see, And we were just laughing our ass off, man. I remember meeting Rick Allen. I became friends with Rick Allen on that tour in '86. We were in Holland, and he came to the show, and we were playing for Maiden. And became friends with Rick, and he took me back to the studio that night. I met all the guys in Def Leppard and Mutt Lang, the producer, and they were recording what album? They were recording Hysteria then. They were actually recording Hysteria in 1986, and I remember meeting them all, and to this day we're still friends. I just saw Rick the other night. Actually, he was in St. Louis here, and I went backstage. I went backstage at the place, and it's funny because I've seen him play. Like I've seen him play in Vegas over there, and I've seen him, and I go to see him and I visit,
And then, like the other night, I said, well, I'm going to go, man. I'll see you guys later. He goes, hey, you going to stay for the show? I said, no, I already seen you guys play. You suck, man. And they all laughed. Phil goes, shut up. I go, I go, no, I want to say, I've seen your show. You suck. I tell everybody they suck, but I don't really mean it, It's just what I say to people, because I like it when people tell me I suck, because, it's great. It gives me some ammunition to start shit about.
What is your relationship like with Chris Holmes today?
Oh, today? Well, I haven't talked to Chris. I talked to him, I think it's been a couple months since I talked to him, because he's over there in Europe, and I Skype. I do it on Skype, I Skype him and Sarah, and, oh, well, man, me and Chris will always be friends, because, man, the first tour, I was rooming with the guy, on the first tour, and it's like, he'd come in 2 or 3 in the morning, drunk as hell, fall on top of me, go, I love you, man, I love you. I go, get the fuck off me, man. But I didn't care. I can remember that, like I told you, in Lisbon, Portugal. I remember we had to do a show with Maiden in Portugal, and we had a day off, and then we had the show, and we had another day off. We went downtown to the in-town square, and every bar we went to were giving us free alcohol. I don't even remember how we got back to the hotel. Well, all I remember was me and him crawling on the ground somewhere. I mean, they can say what they want about it, but it's still, man, it was times that I remember, but some of the funnest times weren't even playing on the stage. It was other shit,
Well, of course, W.A.S.P is still playing. What do you think of the current version of W.A.S.P? They've only been touring
the current thing. Well, I haven't heard the new album called Gotham, but I think that in my honest opinion, is that it's not W.A.S.P anymore. I understand the concept of W.A.S.P, but it's Blackie. I think you should call it Blackie Lawless, because it's not really W.A.S.P anymore. Think about it. And I'm talking, logically. I'm not talking about, it has nothing to do with emotion or feeling or anything. I mean, it's not W.A.S.P anymore. How's that W.A.S.P? It's the idea of W.A.S.P was a certain concept, and I understand, but he ought to call himself, like Alice Cooper, Alice Cooper. We'll call it Blackie Lawless, because it's really that, and I just don't think that it doesn't fit, whatever. But I guess it's not, that's just my opinion, man. I have no hard feelings against anybody. I think I would love to do a reunion. I think that we should do a reunion, me and Blackie and Chris, and whichever, whether we get Steve Riley or Frank Manelli or Sted Howland, that'd be killer. I think it would kick fucking ass. I think people would go nuts for it, man.
Yeah, in American...
I'd love to play with Blackie again, because I'll tell you what, I love singing with the guy, man. That guy's got such a... he sings great, and when him and I sing together, it sounds like Beatle harmonies.
Oh, it's great.
Like, we did those videos on... we did The Idol, and we did Hold On to My Heart and stuff, which is acoustic guitar, him and I. Man, we harmonize so good together, him and I. I love singing with him, because I can blend. We blend. I just think we blend, and I would love to do a reunion with him. I really would, man. I wish he would consider it. I really do.
I think he should, especially. I mean, he's just. I think they just had to replace a drummer again. You start turning over.
Yeah. Mike Dupke left. I don't know why, but he left, and so I'm sure that they've. I'm sure they replaced him, because I think he's got some shows coming up. I don't know for sure, because I don't follow it, but I know that. I think a reunion would be. I think a reunion would be cool, man, and I think that I believe that people at that it would get tons of people would come to see us if we did got back together.
Yep.
Don't you?
Oh, yes, I do. I think that'd be awesome. I would love to see W.A.S.P, for one, get back to America touring. They haven't been able to really tour America. I'm, not saying anything bad about Blackie Lawless. I'm a huge W.A.S.P fan, but they had some issues, some cancellations about 10 years ago on a tour, and I think American venues are kind of reluctant to book, W.A.S.P at this point. But you get you guys back together, I think that they would be reopen the American market, don't you think?
Well, I'll tell you, man, I mean, the music business has really, really changed in the last 10, 15 years. And, sad to say, I mean, some of this stuff is just garbage. It really is. That's just my opinion. I'm not all of it, but I think some of it is just garbage. And it's become so homogenized. It's become so, computerized and all those things. It's just not even human. We need to get back to the humans playing instruments, and, I understand about digital and computer, all that shit. I do understand, but it's like rock and roll. It's the same brain surgery, man. It's rock and roll. It's meant to be hard, rough, and gritty, and played and not perfect and things like that. It's just, I come from a different generation, whatever you want to call it. I grew up in the early '70s. In the '70s, shit. Like the Who, bands like that, Black Sabbath. I bought them damn albums when they were new. when they were just released, you know.
Now you get to go see them on their farewell tour, the final tour for Black Sabbath 40 years later. How about that?
I know. I remember buying Black Sabbath Paranoid album when it came out. And the first one was already out, and I was like in 8th grade. Man, I saw Led Zeppelin in 1973, the House of the Holy tour. I was 15 years old. I was there. I saw House of the Holy tour.
So
15 years old, man. I seen Pink Floyd and Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Babies that same year. Dark Side of the Moon and $1 Billion Babies tour that same year in 73. Shit.
Well, okay, last question. If you could play with one band, one artist, who would it be?
You know what? It's so hard for me to answer because I have so many different tastes of like one of my favorite bands of all time is Original Genesis. You know,
Yes.
The Original Genesis. I would love to play in the Original Genesis. You know, with Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins and all of them. The Original Genesis, not the one after 11. But at the same time, I'd love to play with AC/DC. But I also love to play with King Crimson. I love to play with Yes. You know, I have so many. My musical taste is so there's so many different sides of it because I grew up in a time when you didn't have to be top 40 and you didn't have to be a pop hit, you know. You just had it was a progressive, you know. So I'd love to play with Hendrix. I'd love to play with Jim Morrison, you know. There's no way that I could ever pick my favorite band of all time or like my favorite artist of all time. I couldn't do it. I can't do it because there's too many because I can't. You can't. I don't see how you can compare Jimi Hendrix to Genesis. You can't. Totally different, but they're two great things, you know. So for me, there's no way I could say there's one. I could never say it. There's not. I could never tell you who my favorite band is, and I could never say it's my favorite artist because I have so many different tastes in music. Because I appreciate it all. I also like Tchaikovsky. You know what I mean? I love Tchaikovsky and symphonic music, you know, and stuff like that. So you know, I like big band music, Glenn Miller, shit like that. Because I studied music when I was young, you know, and so I appreciate all different kinds. So there's no way I could ever say. People have asked that many times. They go, "Who's your favorite band?" Though I can't. There's no way. There's too many. There's too many great ones to say who's better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
How could you compare Genesis to AC/DC? You can't. You can't. I mean, it's totally different. But one is just as great as the other. You know, at what they do. That's why I tell these young people. I go, you know what, man? Just remember this. Don't try to be like anybody else. You know what? Nobody can do what you do better than you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I can't be Chris Squire from Yes, you know, but he can't be me. You see, so he can't do what I do better than me, but I can't do it. So I say, do what you know. Nobody can do what you do better than you. Always remember that.
Absolutely, Johnny Rod. I'll tell you what, we've already kept you too long. Thank you so much for your time here on the Music Mania podcast. I'm gonna be singing that Saturday night. I'm gonna go.